My world shattered the day I found out. 10 years. A decade of my life built on a foundation of what I thought was love and trust, crumbled into dust. My husband, Kai, the man I had given my heart to, was having an affair. The other woman, his co-worker Sky. How original. The discovery wasn't a dramatic confrontation. It was quiet, insidious, a series of small, nagging inconsistencies that my gut refused to ignore. Late nights at the office became more frequent. Business trips on weekends. The scent of a perfume that wasn't mine lingering on his collar. He'd become distant, his phone a fortress he guarded with his life. I remember the day it all clicked. I was organizing our finances, a task I always handled, and I stumbled upon a credit card statement. It wasn't our joint card. It was one I didn't know existed. The charges told a story he had tried so hard to hide. Intimate dinners at romantic restaurants we'd never been to. Flowers delivered to an address that wasn't ours. And a hotel booking for two in a city he claimed he visited alone for a conference. The name on the reservation alongside his was Sky. My heart hammered against my ribs. Each beat a painful thud of betrayal. The air left my lungs. For a moment, I couldn't breathe, couldn't think. There it was in black and white, the irrefutable proof that my marriage was a lie. That night, I didn't confront him. The initial shock gave way to a cold, chilling clarity. A storm of emotions raged inside my fury heartbreak, a profound sense of humiliation. But on the outside, I was calm. I needed a plan. Simply leaving felt too easy for him. He deserved to understand the depth of the pain he had caused, to feel the consequences of his deceit. He had shattered my world, and I was going to make sure he picked up every single piece. The first step was gathering more evidence. I became a detective in my own home. I installed a discreet keylogger on our home computer. I checked phone records, which I could access since the account was in my name. The texts were sickeningly sweet, filled with pet names and promises of a future together. They planned getaways, mocked my naivety, and talked about me as if I were just an obstacle, a nuisance to be managed until they could finally be together. Each word was a fresh stab to my already bleeding heart. The worst part was seeing how he presented himself to her as a victim, trapped in a loveless marriage with a wife who didn't understand him. The audacity was breathtaking. With my folder of evidence growing thicker by the day, I started my real plan. I was a homemaker, a role I had willingly embraced. Kai always handled the major finances, priding himself on being the provider. He had no idea I was just as savvy as he was, if not more so. I quietly started moving money. I opened a new bank account in my name. I took half of our joint savings and transferred it. Legally, it was marital property, and I was entitled to it. I also started selling some of the luxury items he had bought over the years: designer watches. Expensive electronic items I knew he wouldn't notice were gone for a while. I was meticulous, covering my tracks, making it look like normal household expenditures. Phase 2 was social. Kai was incredibly proud of his public image. He was the successful manager, the devoted family man, the guy everyone liked. It was all a performance, and I was about to bring the curtain down. We had a big annual neighborhood block party coming up, an event Kai always loved because it was a chance for him to network and show off. It was the perfect stage. A few days before the party, I casually started dropping hints to a few of the neighborhood's biggest gossips. I'd sigh and say things like, Kai's been working so hard lately. So many late nights with his project partner Sky. I'd feign innocence, letting their imaginations do the rest. The day of the party arrived, I dressed to the nines. I felt a strange sense of power, of control that had been stolen from me. I was gracious, smiling, playing the part of the perfect wife one last time. Kai was in his element, laughing, shaking hands. He came over and put his arm around me, a proprietary gesture for the crowd. "Isn't she wonderful?" he said to our neighbors. I smiled sweetly back at him. Inside, I was counting down the seconds. Then came the moment. I had printed out a few choice text messages between him and Sky, the ones where they made fun of me, the ones where they planned their romantic trip. I'd also printed the hotel reservation. I'd put them in sealed envelopes with the names of a few key people, his boss who was at the party, his closest friends, and the neighborhood's most notorious busybody. I had asked a friend to hand them out at a specific time with the simple instruction, a little something from Kai's secret project. I watched from across the lawn as his boss opened the envelope. His face went from confusion to shock, then to utter disgust. He looked at Kai, then at me with a pained, apologetic expression. One by one, the others opened theirs. A wave of whispers spread through the party like wildfire. The music seemed to fade. All eyes turned to Kai, his face drained of all color. He saw the papers in people's hands and then looked at me. For the first time, he saw not the doting wife, but the woman he had betrayed, and she was holding a match to his perfectly constructed world. He rushed over to me, his voice a harsh whisper. "What did you do?" I just looked at him, my expression unreadable. "I just shared your project, dear, the one you've been working on so hard with Sky." He was speechless, his jaw working, but no words coming out. The party dissolved quickly after that. People made awkward excuses and left, their eyes darting between us. His boss gave him a curt, dismissive nod and walked away without another word. His friends wouldn't even meet his gaze. When we got inside our no-silent house, the facade dropped completely. He was furious, yelling, blaming me for embarrassing him, for ruining his reputation. I let him rage. When he finally ran out of steam, I spoke, my voice calm and steady. "You embarrassed me when you decided to sleep with another woman. You ruined our marriage, our trust, our life together. This is just the consequence." I then laid the final blow. I slid a file across the table. It contained the bank statements showing the money I had moved. a list of the items I had sold, and contact information for the divorce lawyer I had already retained. Half of everything is already secured in my new account, I told him. The house will be sold. I've already spoken to a realtor. You can try to fight me, but I have proof of your infidelity, which will make things very difficult for you in court. His face was a mask of disbelief and horror. He had underestimated me completely. He saw me as the meek, dependent wife, and that was his biggest mistake. He had lost his job. His boss called the next morning to fire him for unprofessional conduct and misuse of company funds for his business trips. He had lost his friends, he had lost his reputation, and now he was losing his wife and half his wealth. The weeks that followed were a blur of legal meetings and packing boxes. Kai tried everything. He begged, he cried, he promised it would never happen again. But the words were hollow. The trust was gone, incinerated by his lies. I never saw Sky again. I heard she was also let go from her job and had moved away, her own life appended. I don't feel sorry for her, but I don't waste my energy hating her either. My focus was on me, on rebuilding my life from the ashes of my marriage. It wasn't easy. There were days filled with tears and nights when loneliness felt like a physical weight. But with each box I packed, I felt lighter. I was shedding the weight of his betrayal. I moved into a smaller apartment, started a small online business with the money I had secured, and reconnected with friends I had drifted from. I started healing. Looking back, I don't regret what I did. He made his choices, and I made mine. I chose to stand up for myself, to demand respect even in the face of the ultimate disrespect. I learned that I am stronger than I ever thought possible. My world shattered, yes, but I picked up the pieces and built a new one, just for me. And in this new world, I am the architect, the builder, and the queen. He thought he was breaking me, but he only made me unbreakable. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've been through something similar, know that you are not alone and you have the strength to come out the other side. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.